Alright, I've been wanting to do this for a minute, so let's give this a try. I'm Denny. I'm a coach, one of the coaches at Baem Jitsu here in Fremont, and I just want to. We can learn so much from watching these matches, and so what I want to do is I just want to start just seeing matches and just talking through things that I see, tips that I can give, things that look important to me, and hopefully you guys can benefit from that. Just literally like stream of conscious, like just watching it and figuring it out. Now, I'm not going to be necessarily rooting for anyone. I just want to watch the match for the purpose of learning. What can we take away? What can I share? Interesting things that I see. Just there's going to be like I'm going to share the things that I teach in my classes and what I think are really important strategies for tournaments and competition, and ultimately like how we should sort of think about how we train and the things that we need to think about. I will point out little things, big things. Let's just see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to it. So this match is Nicholas Meregali versus Roberto Jimenez in the Pan Ams just now. I saw the other flow video where I already know the result. Meregali wins with a sub, but super fan of both. I don't know. This is my first time looking at the match, so you're just gonna see me do this live, and yeah. From what I understand, Meregali. I do watch a lot of matches, but I am not a super nerd about all the stats and stuff. So we'll figure this out together. But Meregali he competes a lot in super heavy, ultra heavy, I believe, and Roberto is more of a smaller. He's a smaller fighter, so this is the absolute in Pan Am's. Big deal, big respect, and from what I understand about Roberto, he is very mobile. He's super active. Just lots of scrambles, great subs, and Meregali isn't necessarily a scramble guy. He's always played that points game, but with the Danaher switch, I think their focus is always going to be subs. So he's more focused on finishing the fight. I already know the result, but I'm curious how it plays out during the match. So yeah, let's take a look. Let me up the quality here for us. All right. I'm just gonna look at every aspect that I can think of, like on the fly. I'll pause moments where I think it's really important. Showing some love. The height difference is showing the size. So let's see. Meregali is famous for his deep De La Hiva hooks, and Roberto's famous for his passing. It's gonna lock up that way, I believe. So right to their stance, fist bump. Meregali with the big posture up. So I'll just start basic stuff that I'm looking at. Like, you see how Meregali opens up his arms. This is a lot of times they want their sleeves tighter to their body. So what this does is rides it up the wrist, make it harder for people to grab material. But at the same time, the sleeves are physically shorter now. Your shoulders go into your sleeve and it's really tight. Very common in judo. Super high posture. You can see he's already changing levels. He already moved left or right, changed levels, much more active. See this? He's a slower, surer foot. Boom, single leg, outside single. If you have an outside single and you don't reach for material with the hand, missing a big opportunity, because it's more about not necessarily making the shot stronger. It increases the window in which you can drive power in the shot. So super cool detail with Roberto, but he goes in for a foot trip right away. Meregali with I don't know if he has a judo background, but he goes in for big Uchimata. here's the thing that, yeah, let's see. Big Uchimata. Outside, puts his foot to the outside, puts it right back into the inside, and tries to toss him over. Let's take a look at that sequence again. I got in the way. Boom. Collar tie. Secure double collar grips. Goes for big Uchimata. Fails. And then who gets... Did he drop or did he get taken down? Boom. He's going to give him the 2. He sort of accepted the takedown to try to get a counter there, but it didn't work out. Okay, so the Uchimata counter. Watch that. Posted hand. So what you want to do is either have a lot of amplitude or control that outside hand so it doesn't post out. It didn't happen that way. He's fighting for that grip now. Having a harder time. It looks like he has it. Boom. Goes for that trip. He goes for the counter, but it fails. So one of the things that Roberto did really good here is 30 seconds into the match, they didn't go ham, but a shot this early against a serious guard player. Let's think about what's going on through Roberto's head. He is not in a rush to pass. Okay, so when I'm in this position, like, takedowns are good. Typically, I like to burn the clock a little bit more, but takedowns are good here strategically. It's dangerous. Do it this early. Notice what he's doing. He's doing good grip maintenance. So what he's doing is fighting off the grips off the collar. Super huge when it comes to people with big guard games and stuff like that. So with Roberto, super active, fast pace. Take down this early. Are you going to keep Meregali down? If Meregali wants to get up, there's chances where it can go up again. So this is a tough position to be. You want to pass, you want to control, but what he's doing is doing some maintenance, taking his time. There's no incentive to speed through this right now. He's already threatening off balancing with that grip on that ankle. It's really good. Collar grip is established again. Collar grip is dangerous with a guard player like this. Good pop on that. Low stance, attacking the legs. Okay, so let's take a mental picture. I always like to do this. This is right before the reset. You have a grip on the shin, right below the knee. His left hand is on the. You can see the pant being tight here. He's going for that. He's on his right rib, and his left hand. What is that? Gripping his sleeve. Boom, shin. He's grabbing his own shin here, which is interesting. Makes sense. Keeps it inside. He's not. The sleeve is sort of far away. Let's see how the reset goes. Let's see that reset. A lot of times people will try to inch a favorable position. Okay. Yeah, still grabbing his own shin. That's interesting. Okay. Boom. Because he wanted that one arm. He's seated back. He's playing very much a defense position right now. He doesn't like the fact that he has control of his arm there. He's inside. That right grip, I'm curious where that is. Oh, beautiful setup. Big cartwheel. He stops the cartwheel. Comes in. Yep. Dope. Good shit. Okay, so let's reset that. This right here is the moment Meregali's attacking. So let's think about Meregali's perspective. He's on his ribs. His guard is on the outside, right? He has a sleeve grip. Triangle setups are very possible right now. The only thing is he has to be conscious of this arm right here. See how the arm is on the inside? And Meregali, this must be part of his game because he was so quick with it. Watch his hand when it goes to the outside. So it's both feet outside or two arms inside. What we want is a triangle. So we want one arm in, one arm out. I think he feels safe because his elbow is all the way out here, which he's framing against the thigh. But It's Meregali, so boom, right there. Right there. Once it goes to the outside, he shoots this. What's interesting about this, most people are pulling the arm to slide it back inside. He actually did a whole switch out where his leg goes down. So he switched position. He goes down. He's going to come back in. Boom. Catch. Damn. Now Roberto's a G, so he's going to start posturing. This is super, super important. Notice hip to the head. That line, you do not want to make it... you do not want to pitch your head underneath that hip line. It's going to be ideally head up higher than the hip. Hip and head should be flat, parallel to the ground at a minimum. I'm talking about, even if you can't get your shoulders up, look up, pitching your head higher than the butt. What this does is put more pressure on that guard to ultimately break it. So let's see what's up. So he postures up, he's lifting him, pulls away. One of the issues with pulling away is you leave your arm inside. Not always the case, but he has a good grip, so that's what he did. So it looks like he would rather, and this is not necessarily an escape. What he's trying to do is funnel the triangle into an omoplata. Because you can see it must be a thing he does, because watch how quick he goes right into that cartwheel. Lifting, pulling. So out the back door, right into that. Meregali's seen this before. He catches the shin. Failed spin out. What he wants to do is he wants to cartwheel up to his knees and then pass to the right side. But what happens is he caught a shin. He buffed that cartwheel, so he slowed it down. And then he's now on his back. So let's see. Boom, he's on his back. What's interesting here is Meregali's he has 2-on-1 on the sleeve, so he's actually looking for arm bars right now. And Roberto uses this to escape. Good. See, so he had an option. Let's look at Meregali. When he does this, he can stop. When he falls, he can turn and come up. He could posture right now, but he's so focused on that arm. What this tells me is he's looking to submit. He just wants submissions right now. He's down on 2. 8 minutes into this match, but he's going for that arm right away. 2 minutes into this match, and he's already got a couple sub attempts, close calls. This is why these guys are so fucking good. Look at this. Look at that. I'm not, we have to point that, the past didn't happen, but watch what Roberto does. He's getting pulled in because he likes to funnel short range with the grip on the leg, but on long range, Meregali grabs the lapel to keep posture and control. He drives his knee, which is a common thing, and then what he does is it's a very skill move, opportunity move, where you hop over that leg, windshield wipe and hop at the same time. But watch this leg here. He does both at the same time. Boom. He does a rear windshield wipe on the pass. It's fucking dope. Jump. Boom. He caught it. He didn't finish it, but that was fucking dope. Lots of skill. I feel like he's done that a million times. He must get that all the time in the gym. Boom. Switches to the other side. That's dynamic passing right there. Go from one area to the next. He goes over the top of the legs. And then we have almost like worried about the single leg X position here. He steps over trying to cover him. Off balance. Single leg X. So this is where it's really interesting. One of the things you have to worry about is being lifted. Anytime you're passing the guard, he's being lifted right now. He's almost in a single leg X position. What you do in that single leg X position, you put forward weight on that leg. The problem is he's being lifted at the same time. So watch both his hands go to the floor. Usually when this happens, it's almost impossible to recover against a really good guard player. Roberto has a decision. He needs to posture and get weight back to his feet. He can either kick his leg out and start standing on it, which in this situation is really tough. His hip and his head is so high. So what he chooses to do, he sees a pathway to the back. And this is typically very, very, very difficult to hit because you still have the legs to deal with. And so what he's sort of banking on is he threatens the back, and Meregali removes these leg positions to defend his back. But he needs to be threatened to do that. We see he goes for this pathway. Stays inverted, doesn't completely commit. Maybe because he's still tied up. There we go. He's going for the hip. He's got the hook. He comes back up. Meregali's on top now. Bigger man's landed on top. He's leaning back to stop. So what is Meregali thinking? So we have Roberto with this hook. This reverse half. His arm is behind, underneath his armpit, and we have Roberto with his arm over. Notice he's grabbing the top of the collar. What does this mean? He's going to try to sweep his way back into the back. So he's going to push forward with his hip. They push back. A lot of times then this bottom leg slides under that butt, and then it's a back chase at that point. What Meregali is doing is he understands this, so he has a frame on the knee to slow that down. So if there's any kickback into him, he's slowing that down. This arm is necessary to maintain good control, but watch his big lean back. He knows it's coming. He knows he's open to this. See, he's higher, and then he leans back. You see that lean back? This essentially kills that. Look, he brings his hips out. He's doing the right thing. His other foot might be able to come in to break open that guard. But let's see. He has an overhook. Usually this means he's trying to get a path to the back or mount from here. Let's see. He keeps pushing his leg out. The key, if anyone's in this reverse half, is make sure your knee is free. Roberto went for big commitment. He was able to stuff it, but they ended up back in this half position. Look at Roberto. Really have a high collar grip. This is really important. He wants to push him down. He's trying to counteract what Meregali is doing. But Meregali is in a good position because he's strong. His hip is not here and his shoulder here. His hip and his shoulder are in alignment. This is really tough for him. He has a grip here. He's trying to kick out. He's pushing. He could also pull and push to sort of crack open that guard. He comes up. He's trying to come up. He uses that to turn down. Damn. Let's take a look at that again. So he has an incredible base. If you were looking at Roberto, you see how his elbow's super high and his knees and his ribs and his elbow, they're like, he's essentially super extended. And so his only real option is to turtle. There's no pathway for him to go to his back and turn away. If his no-gi is possible, he can do that to cartwheel and turn around, something really risky. But what he's sort of forced to do is turtle, come up and turtle. Come up to turtle beyond bottom, or come up to turtle to cartwheel over the hips. Problem is he's so long and he's such a good position right now. He goes and makes this big attempt. Boom. See, you see him going in, and then Meregali with that grip on the pant, he's taking his time. He knows that he's in a power position. The second he commits, he turns. Now here's another lesson I tell guys at the gym. If you're in a good position, there's no rush. People want to keep doing movement, progression. The reality is, what you can do is wait. When you recognize that you're in a good position, you can sort of predict what the person on bottom is going to do. He's in this position. He's looking at Roberto. He's like, he's going to come up. So he's not necessarily trying to use that grip anymore on the pant to break the guard, because the guard's going to be broken by Roberto himself when he comes up. And you see, it's not necessarily a reaction, it's a choice that he immediately stuffs that away. So let's see this in real time. See that, how he used that to try to gain some positioning, but he's no longer using it to try to break and try to pass. He's not using his outside foot on the knee or anything like that. Like, he probably knows he's too long for that, but but he doesn't need to do it because he knows he has to go belly down, opens it up, he allows him to turtle, and then goes. That's a secondary option. Like, instead of, when he was here, he could have flattened back out and he would have whipped it probably into a mount. Roberto being super, like, he's really He knows that he's in a tough position, so he forces himself back to turtle. He forces that turtle. We have an inside hook here over the back. What does this mean? He's going to pull him in. Now, there's a lot of people for the lower belts. Listen to this. When you're in this turtle position, there's a lot of things you can do. You can start attacking the neck. You can get up and then put hooks in. You can bring this hook over the top. You can bring that inside hook in. One of the things that I find super effective, and I see it a lot in the higher belts, is they just put their ass to the floor. That's it. So you'll see that's what he does. He just puts him down. So instead of chasing him up or anything, forcing scrambles, you're in a really good position. Just pop him down if you can. The sequence on the backs are really, really interesting. Something that I like is going for collar chokes here. Notice that he didn't care about the points. He sees the finish, and he builds up into that. Right here to like a modified bow and arrow. One of the strongest submissions in Jiu-Jitsu. Yep. So a little over 3 minutes to get the sub. Really good job by both competitors. Crazy match. Good control throughout the whole way. You know, we have a very active fighter, active. We have a very active athlete versus someone who is, I feel like, slowing down and maintaining more control leading into the sub, similar to Gordon Wright. It makes sense, right? He's training at New Wave. That's what you would assume is going on. It's interesting that he still uses the lapel to pull. I would have just assumed that they want to like gear him to his no-gi and just be like, okay, we're just going to focus on, whatever. But I think it just shows that they're focused just on whatever the tournament is. You just optimize for that, right? So I think that's a big reflection on what's going on with his training. Boom. See the sequence again. I think this was really interesting. It's tough, Roberto could have stayed top, up here, but this is not necessarily the most optimal thing. He did really good. He got it close on the hip. It's tough when you have to like make big reaches to make this happen. He catches the outside leg, keeps himself tight. He stays inverted. He's comfortable here. This allows him to make adjustments that he needs to get underneath the hip. And he actually gets underneath the hip. This is really good. Hip is a little bit high. He pitches over and he gets tossed. One of the issues with doing this is that he has a good hook position. Watch as he curls his foot now. Boom, he gets his own hook and start turning. If he stayed turtle there, he would have probably trimmed away, tried to take his back, but he fell into this reverse half. Again, there's that correction, that big correction by Meregali. Roberto's focusing on that collar grip. He's inching away with his base, but he knows that he needs to come up and make a big move. No longer is he inching out. He's just maintaining positions now. He has a good grip on the... He's going to get that grip again on the pant. Boom. Bring it back. He saw that the first time, right? So the second time now he stays on the... It's so crazy how these athletes are just like thinking on the fly and just making improvements. He knows in a position where he has to do it again. So he maintains positions and sort of like elicits the same response because he's in a position where he doesn't really have many other options. Keeps that grip this time and then pivots into that turtle. Sick. Yep. Hand fighting right into that collar grip. And notice how he's not even chasing the back at this point. He's so confident in that grip. It's something he does every day. Goes right for that finish. Damn. Yeah, so great match. Cool match. This is my first attempt at making one of these videos. I just wanted to point out from both sides, not only little things that they do, also things that for folks that don't compete, like why do they always do this? What is the benefit of stretching out the arms? What's the benefit of different things like with Roberto, that quick side pass? Is it something that's high percentage? Probably not. Is it high level? Yes. The double windshield wipe, like hop over, it's one of those like tricky passes that work really well for these like hyper intense matches. But he was in a position where he was controlled, and so that's the main reason why I think it was difficult. But it's one of those throwaways. You toss it in and see if you can get it in. A lot of times it will work. So super cool match. I just think about strategies. One of the things I also, at the very end in particular, you need to look at both opponents and say, what are they looking for? What are they being careful about? What are they setting up? You can see on both sides. Sometimes you're going to see positions where it's just clear. So let's think about this. Like, you go to the training, you put in these positions where it's sort of locked out. One of the biggest lessons for a lower belt to the higher belt or lessons for me, was realizing that you don't have to be in a quote unquote good position to be in a good position. For instance, that reverse half, is anyone at a severe advantage? Not really, because Roberto had that high collar grip. He has a pathway to the back, right? But if you're in the top position, you're in a tournament, right? Let's look at the point score on that when he was there. It was 2-2. It's even. 7 minutes left in the clock. He's in that position. There's no reason to scramble. There's no reason to rush it. He's looking for the finish. That's what I'm thinking. He's coming into this. He's taking his time. He wants to progress. So think about all these different factors when making these decisions about training and sparring. You look at the clock. You look at the point spread. You look at what you're working on. If you're working on something and building something, don't care about any of that. But if you're sharpening and you're trying to focus on winning a match, these things become way more important. So the folks that are trying to transition into maybe doing their first tournament or something like that, there's two things that you got to think about. There's the technical aspect, but then there's the tactical aspect. And realizing when you're in a good position, when it's not a traditional good position, I'm talking about you are not mounting, you are not taking the back with the hooks in, you are not doing any of those things. What he's doing is you're in these positions of progress, but the trick is to recognize when you should move forward and when you should wait, because the next level is going to be anticipating movement or just understanding decisions that your opponent will make based on the options that they have. And those options can be in your control based on the position that you put them in, right? So that's where the tactical aspect comes in. Really important to note here. And so damn, it's a 3-minute match and I just did 20 minutes. What the fuck? It's at 28 minutes. God. Well, if it's helpful, let me know. I'll do a few more of these, see what the reception is. But if any questions, any matches, let me know. It's pretty dope. I get to learn more about these athletes and hopefully pick out some things that are helpful to know. So let the homie know. So let's get to the next one.